The Liberals and pipelines. I'm Brian Lilly with the Rebel.media. So the Liberals have come up with a new plan for approving, or blocking as the case may be, projects such as pipelines. Now, under this new plan, revealed with much fanfare but few details, there will be increased community consultations, increased participation for Aboriginal or Indigenous groups, and greenhouse gas emissions from the project will be a consideration. The Liberals say this isn't about blocking projects, clogging them up. No, they say they're committed to getting Canada's natural resources to market. But the facts and Liberal actions simply don't back that up. Remember that when the mandate letters for his cabinet came out, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau essentially had ordered his Natural Resources Minister, James Carr, to act on climate change first, making it clear he thinks the oil industry is a problem for climate change. From the letter, as Minister of Natural Resources, your overarching goal will be to ensure that our resource sector remains a source of jobs, prosperity, and opportunity within the context of a world that increasingly values sustainable practices and low-carbon processes. Remember, Natural Resources Minister is in charge of a lot of things, not just oil. And low carbon, that means no oil, or at least less of it. Now I'll get into the Liberal desire for a no-carbon economy in a minute, but first, another quote from that letter. Carr is supposed to modernize the National Energy Board to ensure that its composition reflects regional views and has sufficient expertise in fields such as environmental science, community development, and Indigenous traditional knowledge. Science. Science is what the Liberals say they want. Facts and science, that's what should guide the approval of any pipeline or other big project. But when you insert into that mandate letter, you add things like environmental science to a process that already includes heavy weighting for environmental impacts, what you're saying is environmental ideology will guide the process, not science. As for adding Indigenous traditional knowledge to the process, well, I have no idea what that means, but it doesn't mean science. If there was a native Edison, Telsa, Watt, or Newton pre-contact, I have not heard of him. Take all this together and you can see that this is about blocking pipelines. Don't take my word for it. The Enviro lobby group Forest Ethics hailed the new guidelines as stopping pipelines. They said so in a news release. It's all in keeping with the Liberal plan for a zero-carbon economy. We've told you about this plan before. Trudeau's top advisor, Gerald Butt, says he didn't want a different route for pipelines. He wanted no pipelines. He wanted a zero-carbon economy. Said this while he was head of the World Wildlife Fund.
We don't think it's up to us to decide whether there should be another route for a pipeline, because the real alternative is not an alternative route. It's an alternative economy.
Butts also signed on to a document, along with other American and Canadian green groups, calling for a moratorium on what they referred to as the tar sands and any infrastructure, say like pipelines, that support it. Also signing that document, Marlo Reynolds, the man who's now Chief of Staff to Environment Minister Catherine McKenna. So two senior and very important staffers, people who advise the government at the highest level, want no pipelines, no energy industry, no oil industry at all. But the Liberals say they're not against the industry. So I put all this to Minister McKenna in her news conference.
The Prime Minister has been very clear about this, that we need to get our natural resources to market. We need to get our natural resources to market in a sustainable way. We are well aware of the job losses. There are job losses across the country because of the low commodity prices. That is a major problem. We certainly factor that in. We're going to have green infrastructure spending. We are going to have spending to help build a cleaner economy, including in terms of innovation and natural resources. And all we're saying here is that Canadians deserve to have trust in their environmental assessment process.
Do you believe her? I don't. This is a government that cares not one whit for Canada's energy industry, at least not anything that isn't solar or, say, wind. I mean, these new measures apply to Canadian oil projects, but they won't apply to imported oil or oil that comes from some of the nastiest countries in the world, environmentally and otherwise. One final point of proof. How many jobs have been lost in the oil industry since Trudeau came to power? Thousands upon thousands, and yet, have we seen a response? No, not really. We know Trudeau acknowledges when his friends lose their jobs, though. He tweeted support for 90 job losses at Post Media. In the oil industry, well, that doesn't even rate a tweet of support. All it rates is another set of roadblocks to development.